Dr. Michael Tors had thought the strangest part of being humanity's chief medical officer aboard the Endeavour would be treating alien physiology. He'd studied Voltorian biology for 3 years before Earth's first deep space diplomatic mission, memorizing the composition of their copper-based blood, their redundant cardiovascular systems, their remarkable regenerative capabilities. What he hadn't prepared for was becoming the most valuable and most heavily guarded human in the galaxy. It started 6 months ago, in what was supposed to be a routine cultural exchange on Voltoria Prime. Princess Linara, the Emperor's youngest daughter and the darling of the Voltorian court, had personally requested a tour of the human medical facilities aboard the Endeavour. At 19 years old, barely an adolescent by Voltorian standards, she was known for her curiosity about alien species and her shocking informality for someone of royal blood. Michael remembered her walking into his medical bay, her navy blue skin gleaming under the fluorescent lights, her silver blonde hair woven with tiny crystalline beads that chimed when she moved. She'd peppered him with questions about human anatomy, fascinated by the differences between their species. "You only have one heart," she'd asked, her luminous golden eyes wide with wonder. "But what happens if it fails?" "We die," Michael had answered simply. "Humans are fragile compared to most coalition species." She touched her chest where both her hearts beat in syncopated rhythm. "That seems terribly inefficient, and your blood, it's iron-based. What a strange color it must be." "Red," he'd told her, pulling up a holographic diagram, "instead of your blue-green." They'd talked for hours. She was brilliant, he'd realized, genuinely interested in xenobiology, not just playing at science as a royal hobby. When she'd finally left, flanked by her 4 royal guards, Michael had thought that would be the end of it. He'd been wrong. 3 days later, alarms had screamed through the Endeavour as a Krell warship dropped out of FTL practically on top of them. The attack was surgical, precise. They'd blown through the shields, boarded the diplomatic section, and grabbed Princess Linara before anyone could react. The royal guards had died to the last soldier trying to protect her. Michael had been in his quarters when the breach alarms sounded. He'd grabbed his emergency medical kit and run toward the fighting because that's what doctors did. They ran toward the crisis, not away from it. He'd found Linara in a maintenance corridor, clutching her side, blue-green blood seeping between her fingers. Her face was pale, paler than Voltorian skin should ever be, and her breathing was rapid and shallow. "The guards," she'd whispered. "They're all—" "Don't talk." Michael had pulled her hand away, his stomach dropping at what he saw. A plasma burn, deep and cauterized, had destroyed tissue across her left side. More critically, it had damaged the area where her primary heart was located. He could see the muscles struggling, spasming, failing. He'd known immediately that she was dying. Voltorian regeneration was remarkable, but it couldn't heal a damaged heart fast enough. She needed a transfusion to support her cardiovascular system while her body worked to repair itself. She needed Voltorian blood. The nearest Voltorian medical ship was 8 hours away. Linara had maybe 30 minutes. "I'm sorry," Michael had said, already working to stabilize her with what limited supplies he had. "I can't, your blood type, I don't have any compatible." "Human blood," she'd gasped. "Research, I read, similar enough, temporary." Michael had frozen. "That's theoretical. No one's ever actually tested cross-species transfusion. The protein structures are similar but not identical. Your body might reject it. It could kill you faster. Her golden eyes had found his. Already dying, try. What he'd done next would either get him a medical commendation or cost him his license. Probably both. He'd jabbed the needle into his own arm, drawing blood into an emergency transfusion pack. His hands had been steady. Years of trauma medicine had trained him to function in crisis. But his mind was screaming that this was insane, impossible, that he was about to kill a Volturian princess with his own blood. "This is going to hurt," he'd warned her. "Your body is going to fight it. You need to hold on, understand. When the Volturian medics get here, they'll give you real treatment. You just need to survive until then." She'd nodded weakly. He'd started the transfusion. For the first 30 seconds, nothing happened. Then Linara had screamed. Her body had convulsed, rejecting the foreign blood even as it desperately needed the oxygen it carried. Her skin had flushed darker, then lighter, cycling through shades as her system went haywire. Michael had held her down, monitoring her vitals, making real-time adjustments to the drip rate, praying to gods he didn't believe in that this would work. It had taken 3 full units of his blood. By the time the Volturian medical team arrived, Michael had been lightheaded from blood loss, and Linara had been stable but unconscious. The Volturian doctors had stared at him like he'd performed a miracle or committed heresy. They weren't sure which. "You gave her human blood?" the chief physician had asked, her purple skin pale with shock. "I gave her a chance," Michael had replied, then passed out. He'd woken up 3 days later in the most luxurious medical facility he'd ever seen, with Queen Shavara herself sitting beside his bed. The Queen of the Volturian Empire was a formidable woman. Her navy skin was marked with the golden tattoos of the imperial line, her blonde hair shot through with silver threads. She'd ruled for 300 years, and her golden eyes held the weight of every one of them. "You saved my daughter's life," she'd said without preamble. "With your own blood." "I did what any doctor would do, Your Majesty." "No," her voice had been soft but absolute. "You did what no doctor has ever done. You performed an untested procedure on a member of the royal family. You risked not only her life but your own career, possibly your freedom on a theory." She'd leaned forward. "Why?" Michael had met her eyes. "Because she was 19 years old and dying in front of me, because I took an oath to preserve life, because," he'd paused, "because she deserved a chance." The Queen had studied him for a long moment. "The medical team tells me that your blood is still in her system. Volturian bodies are slowly replacing it, but the process will take weeks. During that time, she is dependent on the foreign proteins your blood introduced. If something goes wrong, she may need more." "I can provide it," Michael had said immediately. "I know you can." Shavara had stood, and suddenly Michael realized there were 4 royal guards in the room when had they arrived. "Dr. Torres, I am placing you under royal protection. You will be housed in the palace complex. You will have a security detail. You will not leave Voltoria Prime without express permission from me personally. Your Majesty, I have duties aboard the Endeavor. Your captain has been informed that you've been reassigned, temporarily." Her tone suggested it might be a very long, temporary assignment. "You are now the personal physician to Princess Linara. More than that, you are her insurance policy. As long as she carries your blood, you are the most valuable human in this empire." That had been 6 months ago. Now Michael stood in his quarters in the royal palace, rooms larger than his entire apartment back on Earth had been. and stared at his daily schedule with something between amusement and resignation. 700. Breakfast, Royal Guards escort to dining hall, 800. Medical check-in with Princess Linara, Royal Guards in attendance, 1,000. Laboratory research on human Volturian blood compatibility, Royal Guards stationed outside, 1,300. Lunch, Royal Guards escort, 1,400. Exercise period, Royal Guards supervise, 1,600. Consultation with Volturian medical staff, Royal Guards accompany, 1,900. Dinner with the royal family, Royal Guards everywhere. He couldn't sneeze without 4 armed Volturians knowing about it. A chime at his door announced visitors. He didn't need to ask who. The guards never let anyone through without clearing them first. "Come in," he called. Princess Linara entered looking healthy and vibrant, her navy skin glowing with vitality. Behind her, as always, came her new royal guards, 4 soldiers who'd sworn an oath to protect her with their lives, and who watched Michael with an intensity that suggested they'd also sworn to protect him. "Good morning, Dr. Tors," Linara said formally, though her eyes sparkled with barely contained amusement. "Time for my daily examination." This was the routine they'd established. Every morning, he checked her vital signs, monitored the last traces of human blood proteins in her system, and made sure there were no delayed rejection reactions. "How are you feeling?" he asked, gesturing for her to sit. "Like I'm being kept prisoner by my own mother," she said, dropping the formality as soon as the door closed. "Do you know she's assigned guards to guard your guards?" There are literally 16 soldiers whose only job is to make sure you don't accidentally fall downstairs or get hit by a shuttle or spontaneously combust. Michael pressed his scanner against her wrist, checking her pulse rate. "Your mother is being cautious. The human blood proteins are still integrated into your cardiovascular system. If something happened to me before we fully understand the long-term effects—" I know, Linara sighed. "I'm living proof of an unprecedented medical procedure. If you died, they'd lose the chance to study what makes it work. Plus, I might need more transfusions." She paused. "Do you know how weird it is to know I have human blood cells in my body? Sometimes I wonder if I'm thinking human thoughts. That's not how it works." "Are you sure? Because I've developed this strange craving for something called coffee and an inexplicable urge to watch Earth soap operas." Michael looked up sharply and she grinned. "Kidding, mostly." Her smile faded. "Seriously though, Michael, you saved my life and now you're essentially under house arrest in the palace. I feel terrible about it." "Don't." He moved the scanner to check her heart rhythms, both hearts beating strong and steady. "I knew what I was signing up for when I gave you the transfusion." "Did you?" she asked quietly. "Did you know my mother would turn you into the most protected human in the galaxy, that you'd lose your freedom, your ship, your ability to just live normally?" Michael finished the scan and sat back. "Your Majesty, Linara, please, you've literally shared your blood with me. I think we can drop the formality." "Linara," he corrected. "I was a military doctor for 10 years before joining the Endeavor. I've worked in war zones, disaster areas, and plague ships. I've never had a normal life. This," he gestured to the palatial surroundings. "This is strange, yes, but it's not a prison, it's just protective custody with really nice furniture." She laughed, and the sound was like wind chimes. "You're handling this much better than I would. If someone told me I couldn't leave the palace, that I had to have guards following me everywhere, that my entire life was now dedicated to being a medical curiosity, I'd go crazy." You already have guards following you everywhere. You're a princess. True, but now I have double guards. Guards for me and guards for my personal human. She said it teasingly, but there was something else in her tone. Something warmer. A knock at the door interrupted whatever Michael might have said. One of the royal guards stepped in. Your Majesty, Princess Linara, the Queen requests Dr. Tor's presence in the throne room, immediately. Michael and Linara exchanged glances. Immediate summons from Queen Shavara were rarely good news. The throne room of Voltoria Prime was designed to inspire awe and terror in equal measure. Massive crystal pillars soared 300 feet overhead, and the throne itself was carved from a single piece of star diamond that was said to be older than Voltorian civilization. Queen Shavara sat upon it, regal and imposing, her golden eyes fixed on Michael as he entered with Linara and their combined escort of 8 royal guards. Dr. Tors, the Queen said, thank you for coming so quickly. Your Majesty, Michael bowed, still not entirely comfortable with all the formal protocol. I have received a communication from the Kelmorian Empire. Their crown prince has contracted a rare blood disease. Their doctors are unable to treat it. Shavara's expression was unreadable. They have heard of your successful transfusion with Linara. They are requesting your assistance. Michael's stomach sank. Your Majesty, I don't know if human blood would be compatible with Kelmorian physiology. The procedure with Princess Linara was experimental and extremely risky. They are willing to accept the risk. They are offering substantial compensation to the Voltorian Empire for your services. The Queen paused. I am inclined to refuse. Mother, Linara stepped forward. If Dr. Tors can save the prince's life, he saved your life by risking his own. Shavara cut her off. He nearly died from blood loss. The transfusion could have failed and killed you both. And now the Kelmorians want him to do it again with even less understanding of the compatibility issues. She shook her head. Dr. Tors is under my protection. I will not risk him. With respect, Your Majesty, Michael said carefully, shouldn't that be my choice? Golden eyes pinned him in place. No. The single word carried the weight of absolute authority. You may be willing to sacrifice yourself, Dr. Tors, but I am not willing to lose you. You are not merely a doctor anymore. You are living proof that human Voltorian medical cooperation can achieve the impossible. You are the key to understanding how human blood can sustain Voltorian life. And, she paused, her expression softening slightly. You are the person who saved my daughter. I will not allow you to die for strangers when you have already given so much for my family. But the answer is no. The Kelmorians will have to find another solution. Shavara's tone indicated the discussion was over. Michael looked at Linara, who appeared torn between supporting her mother and supporting him. The guard stood impassive. Your Majesty, he tried one more time, I became a doctor to save lives. If I can help. You can help by remaining alive and healthy, the Queen interrupted. By continuing your research, by ensuring my daughter makes a full recovery. Those are the lives you will save. She stood, and everyone in the room reflexively straightened. You may think my protection is excessive, Dr. Tors. You may chafe at the restrictions, but you will understand something. When you saved Linara, you became family, and I protect my family with everything I have. She descended from the throne, moving with lethal grace until she stood directly in front of him. Do you know what the punishment is for harming a member of the royal family? She asked softly. No, Your Majesty. Death, immediate and absolute, no trial, no appeal. Her golden eyes bore into his. I have extended that protection to you. Anyone who harms you even accidentally will face the same consequences. You saved my daughter with your blood. Now I keep you safe with the full might of the Empire. That is not imprisonment, Dr. Tors, that is gratitude. Michael swallowed hard. I understand, Your Majesty. Do you? Shavra studied him. You're a soldier, a doctor, a man of action. Being protected instead of protecting others must feel wrong to you. But you have already done your part. You have already risked everything. Now let me do mine. She placed a hand on his shoulder, a shocking gesture of informality from a queen, and her voice gentled. My daughter is alive because you didn't hesitate, because you saw a dying girl and not a political calculation, because you gave pieces of yourself to save her. That kind of compassion is rare in the universe, Dr. Tors. I will not let it be destroyed. Linara stepped forward, her eyes bright. Mother's right, Michael. You've done enough, more than enough. Let us protect you for once. Michael looked between them, the ancient queen and the young princess both watching him with expressions of fierce protectiveness. Outside, he could hear the synchronized footsteps of royal guards patrolling. Somewhere in the palace, 16 soldiers were probably monitoring his vital signs, tracking his location, making sure he was safe. It should have felt suffocating. Instead, it felt like family. All right, he said finally. I'll stay. I'll continue the research. I'll let you keep me safe. He paused. But Your Majesty, if someone genuinely needs help, if there's a case where human blood might save a life, I'm asking you to at least consider it. Shavra regarded him for a long moment, then smiled, a rare expression that transformed her face. You cannot help yourself, can you? Always the healer. She nodded. Very well. If such a case arises, we will discuss it together. But the final decision will be mine. Fair enough. Good. The queen returned to her throne. Now go, both of you. Linara, you have your diplomatic studies. Dr. Tors, I believe you have research to conduct. And guards, she addressed the soldiers flanking them. Keep them safe. With our lives, Your Majesty, the guards responded in unison. As they left the throne room, Linara leaned close to Michael and whispered, You know she's never going to let you leave, right? You're stuck with us forever. Michael glanced at the princess, healthy, vibrant, alive because he'd made an impossible choice 6 months ago, and then at the guards who'd sworn to protect him as fiercely as they protected her. You know what? He said quietly. I think I'm okay with that. Linara's smile could have lit up the darkest corners of space. Behind them, unseen but ever present, the royal guards followed. 16 soldiers whose only mission was to keep one human doctor safe. Because he'd saved a princess with his blood, and a queen had decided that made him worth an empire's protection. Michael Tors had thought the strangest part of being humanity's chief medical officer would be treating alien physiology. He'd been wrong. The strangest part was discovering that sometimes, when you save someone, they save you right back. And sometimes, being protected isn't a prison. Sometimes, it's just love wearing armor.